Welcome to the Love Government. I'm Dennis Leary. We are talking about sex signs, and we are now on episode number 26 in this series. At this point, we're talking about the handbook, using the hand as a sign, as a signal, as a symbol. And we talk about the hand as a whole, how it is a sexual sign, reminding us of the values of the love culture and the love government. We talked about the thumb as the sign of the head of the woman's clitoris, associated with touch. We are touched, and the clitoris is touched. It is made for touching, for pleasure, for happiness, for joy. Then we go to the forefinger, and that is the finger that has related to tasting. Tasting. The sense of taste is represented by this finger, and that is diet. What we are eating constitutes us, makes us what we are. We are what we eat. What we take into our bodies becomes our bodies. So it's the sense of taste. And in that process, we get a taste for love. If we do the 5 basic principles, and there are more, but the 5 basic ones, if we practice those, we will develop a sense of taste that we wouldn't otherwise have. And we will also develop a sense of touch. We have a touch for things, and we will have a taste for things. But it's predicated on that we actually do that. You can't just think about it, you have to do things. So that's why we advocate for a vegan Eden diet. Now what is that? That is the way people in the Garden of Eden would have eaten. But it's Eden vegan, which would, the demarcation line in that is blood. We have red blood, and the animals have red blood. Some of them, and some of them don't. The prohibition, in terms of the love government, is do not eat meat from animals that have that type of blood that we have. You can eat, under an Eden vegan diet, you can eat the lower life forms which do not have red blood. Like the clams and the oysters and little tiny fish that don't have blood, reptiles, insects, snails. We even eat snails today. So that type of would be okay. That's where we get our nourishment from that. And these things would be found sometimes in the nature in which we lived. But that was a Garden of Eden type of situation, is the Eden vegan diet. But as I said, you can be vegan and you can be very unhealthy and kill yourself eating vegan if you're taking in fast food, junk food, too much of it, way too much junk food, and then drugs like caffeine, alcohol, nicotine, other kinds of teens, LSD, marijuana. These things that are taken can be addictive and can be killers. It kills the intelligence, first of all. It messes up the brain. And also, many of the pharmaceutical drugs do the same thing. If we're living a healthy lifestyle in a garden-like setting, those things will all fall into place. Health will just come. That's the position of the love government. So it's no meat or no animal products is the basic parameter. If we're truly interested in going all the way with love. If we are, that's a choice we make. Nobody's forcing anything here, but we're recommending this. This is one of the recommendations. So that's the second finger. Now we're going through the fingers here. The third finger is the sex finger. The middle finger is the sex finger, because that finger is also often used in masturbating. The clitoris. Nothing wrong with that. We have to get over our squeamishness and our reluctance to use down-to-earth words. This finger, the sex finger, is about free animality, free animal life. We are mostly animals. 98% of our genes, or more than that, are the same genes as the chimpanzee. We've come from animal stock. Now, and animals are associated with sexuality. And that is associated with the sense of smell. So this is the sense of smell. Animals have an acute sense of smell, and that is connected with the sexuality. Now, the same thing for humans, although we've been lost a lot of that. But in human sexuality, it's the smell of the other person also that either turns us on or turns us off. And that in turn is associated with the person's diet, which is associated also then with what we are acculturated to. We can be accustomed to very different types of smells. But I say that they're very important. Now the thing here is the free animal idea. Free animal, free sexuality, open sexuality. Now what is the negative side of that? And that would be on this side. This is the positive side, this is the negative side. The negative side of that is animal abuse. Because when we abuse animals, we abuse ourselves. If we kill animals, we're killing ourselves because we're an animal. There are those links. Now, patriarchy doesn't want to admit those links. They try to divide it, cut it off, divide and conquer. But there are those links between things. We're all connected. Actions are connected. They have little strings that attach them, little karmic strings, little threads. If you want to visualize it that way. So when we do animal abuse, there's a thread connected to us. We're abusing ourselves. And therefore we're going to have destructive consequences, and we may not even know it. Because we rationalize everything away. We lie about things. But it doesn't matter to the substantial substrate mechanism that's happening. Our lies don't matter. They just fool us. So when we abuse animals like slaughterhouses and pig pens and corrals and collars and fences and laboratory experiments, we're causing suffering and killing to ourselves. Now, this finger here, you have to develop a sense of taste, touch, and smell about it through practices, otherwise nobody's going to get it. We don't get it because those practices have been purposely killed off, abolished by the patriarchal program. But the soft side of animal abuse is pethood. Yes, you heard it right, pethood, P-E-T, pethood is the soft side of animal abuse, because we are killing a whole animal nation. A whole species of animals is being killed. They're being slaves, and they're being expropriated by us, the human species, out of our lack, our neurotic need for love, control, and trust, which we can't get from ourselves anymore, can't get from our peers, so we take it out on the animals and we force them to be substitute lovers, substitute sexual surrogates. That's what's happening with pethood. You're taking a free animal and making a sex slave out of it. We are surreptitiously abusing animals by making them pets. That is the truth of the situation. We want to go on now to the next one, next finger, which is the ring finger, and that stands for marriage. Church, state, sanctioned marriage is a real problem, according to the love government, because it is a nuclear arrangement. Two people come together and couple up. in this type of a nuclear couple. That produces a nuclear family, and down the line it produces a nuclear situation which can blow up. Why does it do that? Because it's about property, money, and possession. And in the background of that is it's a patriarchal device of control and money. And we don't know it. We've been brainwashed. We can't see it. But it is. And what it does is you clamp onto a partner who, in many cases, supposedly is going to supply your lack. And then that becomes your property. So you say, that's my husband, that's my wife, stay away. And the force of the law will protect me on that. You'll be punished in one way or another. That's a possession. That's a clamping onto something. As opposed to a free, open, communal situation where the intimacy, the sexuality is shared in a well-governed process. Now this is an ideal, utopian type of situation which we're drawing from the love culture. That's the way it was in these small communities 100,000 years ago. The way we view it. Not the way patriarchy sees it, because that's a big lie. So if we get married at all, the first partner we should have is the lover, which is all of us as the community of lovers, insofar as we're true lovers. It's the lover. She stands for that. It's just a symbol. It's a sign of all of us. That's the focus on the whole community. You know, the community, whoever the community is. And it can be a very large community, but usually it was people that you interacted with from a day-to-day basis. But the church and the church-state sanctioned marriage, church and state go together. They're in the same club, basically. And they control us through marriage. Now the next finger is the little finger, and that is about the money finger. That's the culture money finger, like we twirl somebody around our little finger. Culturally, money with sophistication. And that is evil. The money system we have today is toxic, it's evil, it's destructive, and yet it's held up as a wonderful thing. It's this whole pyramid system here, this black-hearted pyramid, club or a spade. The money system is what we can either see or we don't see. If we're in it, we're not going to be able to see it very clearly, but if you get out of it, then you can see it. Now what am I talking about? I'm talking about interest, dividends, stocks, bonds, shares, shareholding, investments. All that whole thing is nothing but a counterfeit system. The people at the top either print it or they type it into the computer, give the money to themselves, made up out of nothing, then they lend it out, and then they want real things back. Real money and labor and your life back. It's a pyramid scheme we're all caught up in. So in the love government we say don't do that, but you have to use money. I have money. But don't take interest. The very least is don't take interest on the money, because it's driving us to hell. The money system is driving us to hell. And that we either see or we don't. And the big sign of that is 9/11, inside job. They brought down those towers, controlled demolition, to make money, to make power, to instigate the war on terror, but we can't see it if we're in it. So we need to back off a little bit, practice these 5 principles, and then we'll be able to see it. Now I'm going to sign off now, but refer to the writings, the website, for a lot more information that will make these things more understandable and more helpful. Thank you. Sign off with the love sign. Love, love, always love. Thank you.